Hello everyone, Phoenix Knight here. Welcome to the channel. As part of my last delivery product unboxing on Tuesday, I got in Thunderbolt Apache Leader by Danverson Games. In this video, we're going to crack this open and see what's all in the box. Now, let me talk a little bit about my history with DVG. I mentioned it briefly on Tuesday when I got the delivery in, but my history with DVG has been a little bit checkered, shall we say. I initially bounced off the Leader series back in 2024, I think it was, when I ended up purging most of my DVG games, probably after some rant by Jester and Evening Jay, or just in time for the quick intro, the short version of my history with DVG. So, as I was saying, I purged most of my DVG collection down to 2 games, but the more I've been calibrating my board game recommendation engine with ChatGPT, the more I've realized that it probably wasn't DVG that I should have been purging, at least not for the reason I was. So I'm starting to slowly starting to curate games with a more, what's the word I want, narrative focus to the collection. As such, I picked up a few DVG games again, and we're going to give them another look on the channel. So we're going to start off with unboxing Thunderbolt Apache Leader in this video, but stay close to the channel this evening because I'm going to be planning on unboxing all 4 of the games that came in that delivery. This is, of course, a used copy from Noble Knight. Seems to be about the right heft for what I'm expecting for a Leader game. Maybe I'm a little bit paranoid because I still remember having one product unboxing with Hornet Leader carrier air operations. Was it last year or 2 years ago? I think 2 years ago. That was a complete dud to the point where I had to reorder it and I had to reorder it and do a re-unboxing. So hopefully we won't run into that here. But let's refresh our memory on what's on the back of this box. Warthog 233 rolling in. Thunderbolt Apache Leader places you in command of a close air support squadron in a modern air campaign. Each pilot under your command has individual skills, and each aircraft has individual ratings. You select the best mix of pilots, aircraft, and munitions for each mission. Even with the best aircraft and weapons ever developed for close air support, it still requires your command skill to win the war. I'm not going to go through all of the campaigns because we should be seeing those in the box. What I am going to do, though, is I'm going to take what looks to be this plastic wrapping. It's not shrink wrapped, obviously, given that it's a used copy coming in from Noble Knight. So it's just a layer of plastic. But anyway, we've got that off. So now let's crack this open and see what we've got in here. Feels like the top of the box is a little bit scrunched up, but it's nothing terrible. As long as everything's, and some of my games get dinged too, as long as everything's here, I'm not going to bat an eyelash. We've got the rule book here that we'll give our cursory thumb through at the end. Then we've got all of our counters organized nicely. We've got our, looks like these are pre-clipped counters from the looks of it. It might be a little bit hard to see in close, but at least the planes are already, the planes are already clipped. Then we've got the stress markers along with our special option points and our loiter marker. For these probably go in an opaque cup to be pulled out. Probably counters for the type of mission, presumably. Looks like we've got planes for the flight forces as well. Probably, well, ground forces from the looks of it. We've got more counters for that. Interesting that there's 2 different sets of, what's the word I want? Marker targets. Then we've got all of our cards that are in these deck boxes. This is actually unique. I know this isn't something that came with DVG, but I do like having the organized detail in there. I'm probably going to sleeve everything, and actually, well, I don't know what I'm going to sleeve yet. I got to figure that out. Looks like the events are already sleeved. Ooh, and it looks like in the same Ultra Pro sleeves that I normally use, and I can tell that by the watermark down there. So that'll save me a lot of trouble, presumably. Then we've got more cards. Looks like our tiles. And it looks like we've got the munitions and a lot of the ground forces that are organized into a craft tray. So actually this is a DVG tray, so that's pretty cool. Looks like we do have probably a squadron marker or something in there. I'll have to see what that is when I go digging in. I'm just going to get the rest of this out of the way for the time being. Looks like we've got a few extra copies of the mission logs in here. These aren't double-sided, and this is one that the person who owned the game before me presumably started. So yeah, definitely saves me some trouble of... Well, I was going to say it saves me some trouble, but it doesn't completely, because I see somewhere the top of the paper, or the top of the printer, or whatever he did, kind of ran off a bit, but it's not terrible. Then we've got what looks like the aircraft overview, hit counter effects, fuel checks, and munitions. So this admittedly is not part of the... This is most likely not part of the box of what actually comes with DVG. This is just my copy of the game. Then we've got probably the battalion markers. Aircraft and weapon compatibility aids. That's actually very helpful, so I know what all each plane can equip. Then we've got how the weapons reference, that'll be very handy as well. Looks like the special skills with the planes and the pilots. More of that. Okay, this looks like the official copy of the campaign log. There's a few of those in here as well. So definitely got options for the log. Then we've got battalion, campaign information. Yeah, that was going to be my first guess that these were printed off of BGG. Usually when I get a new game in, BGG is typically the first place I go. Then we've got, not sure what this is, looks like all the skill references in one place. That's convenient. Probably errata. No, I don't think these would be errata cards. Maybe putting a campaign together in one place, so he's got a one-stop shop for reference on pilots. We've also got the official log from DVG. Why it's on this really glossy paper, I have no idea. I have never liked that about DVG with the really glossy paper. In fact, it's one of the gripes that I've got with Western Front Ace from Compass Games. Then we've got our airbase sheet with our campaign card, situation card, pilot and aircraft. Also campaign setup. I always like when a board has a lot of information on them. So you've got how to set up your campaign, replacement details, priority costs, crashed pilot search and rescue, lasting damage, temporary hits, and instant hits. Then I do see the board in here, so we'll give that a quick look. We'll probably need that box out of the way as well. And of course we see that the first thing we're greeted by is a very glossy board from DVG, which they've always been famous for. You've got space for your battalion deck up here, target card, special condition deck, mission events, then all of your enemy information, aircraft information, ridge evasion, where an enemy is in the sector, then also the mission reference up here, which again, I really like when a game does that. So definitely looking forward to getting this game out at some point, which I'm getting slightly spoilerific, but part of the reason I'm leading with Thunderbolt Apache Leader in the unboxings is because I'm thinking about pulling this out on the channel this weekend, since my social obligations have kind of fallen apart on me. But anyway, we've got all of our tiles here. Okay. I don't want to put everything back in the box just yet. I want to make sure I've got room for the rulebook to eventually go back in. But let's give the rulebook our cursory thumb through and we'll take a look at this. Tip the camera down and zoom in. Okay, that should do. Okay. And it's also the same glossy paper, but I don't mind it as much here because I'm not at least trying to write on it like I am the other glossy paper. Okay. How to set up the campaign. Typical layouts of the DVG cards, how those all work. Each pilot has only 2 sides of, 3 cards with a total of 6 skill levels. Okay. I had a feeling that was going to be the same thing, at least if Tiger Leader was anything to go by. Everything looks to be fairly straightforward in here. DVG rulebooks, with the exception of Warfighter, tends to be a little bit, to me at least, a little better laid out. Actually, probably the best laid out of the big 3 out of DVG, Compass, and GMT. Like I said, the exception, of course, being Warfighter, because I've never seen a rulebook that was as horrific as the Warfighter Universal rulebook. That's a part of the reason why I got rid of all of my Warfighter stuff in my great DVG purge last year. Okay. Yeah, everything looks to be fairly straightforward from the looks of it. Okay. And we've got optional rules that we can throw in. Aircraft details. And an index, which is very cool. And of course the sample game. And all the other fine stuff from DVG. Okay. We'll throw everything back in the box. Okay. And that is everything in the box for Thunderbolt Apache Leader by DVG. As I mentioned, stay close to the channel. I'll be unboxing the rest of that delivery as the night goes. I'm not going to talk about what I've got coming up this weekend because I've got a good amount of stuff coming up this weekend. I'll talk about that after the last product unboxing for the night's done. So stay tuned to the channel to see everything get unboxed. Thank you for watching this video. Please give the video a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. Be sure to turn on notifications so you get my content. Be well, stay safe, take care of yourselves and your loved ones, and I'll be back with more videos in the future, like the very near future. Until then, take care everyone.